Hey, what's up, Internet? Today we're going to talk about whether it makes sense to outsource or
Insource.
insource your digital marketing activities.
What's up, everyone? Shlomo Trachtenberg here, and we got Chris Mechanic.
What's up?
Today, I'm particularly excited to talk about insourcing versus outsourcing. I have personal experience both on the agency side here at Web Mechanics and on the client side in a previous role.
Yep.
So
we're obviously an agency, so clearly it just makes sense to hire us.
right.
No, I'm just kidding. For the purposes of this video, I mean, obviously there are a lot of reasons that it makes sense to hire an agency, but for the purpose of this video, we want it to be objective and, just share knowledge and information open.
Just try to keep it best advice we could give you guys.
Yeah, so Shlomo is going to play the part of why to hire an agency, and I'm going to play devil's advocate of why maybe you shouldn't hire an agency.
All right, cool. So I think, kicking it off, I think number one is that agencies, one of the main reasons I think to hire an agency is their expertise, because hiring an agency means that's all they do.
Yeah.
All they do is digital marketing. All they do is pay-per-click advertising through AdWords or Facebook marketing or conversion optimization, whatever it might be. So if that's all they do all day, every day, they're going to be at the top of the industry. They're going to know what's going on. So you're really getting, I feel like, the best value by hiring an agency, because obviously it has to be a good agency that knows what they're doing, but you're really getting someone who really knows what they're doing. It's like when you're going to hire a plumber. Right. I wouldn't try doing the plumbing myself because I'm not good at doing plumbing. Right. But I would hire a plumber who's got great experience because that's all he does. He knows what he's doing.
It's like you could cut your own hair,
or
you could just give somebody $20.
Right, exactly. So I think number one would be, I would say, expertise. The knowledge of the industry, knowledge, and being that it's their bread and butter. That's what they do. So you're going to be getting that value.
Yeah, and that's really important, I think, because in this day and age with click costs and media costs rising, it's really easy to lose money.
Yeah.
Everybody starts marketing with the intent of making more money, hopefully. But it's also important to protect against that downside, which is difficult to do if you don't have the expertise.
Right. So number one, expertise of an agency. I would say number two would be the value. So if you're going to hire in-house, for example, if you're a mid-sized company and you're probably running a decent budget on AdWords or a decent budget on paid media, whatever it might be. So you probably have 3 to 4 channels going on. You have email marketing, you have paid media, you have analytics, conversion. There's usually a nice media mix over there. So by hiring all that, you're either going to get one person who's going to know it all, which is very unlikely that's going to happen.
The purple squirrel.
Yeah, the unicorn, whatever they call it. Right. So it's very unlikely that's going to happen. But I think that that by hiring an agency, you're getting so much more value because you're basically essentially hiring 5 different hires for the price of one. So if an agency is costing about $5K to $10K a month, right, in salary annualized, it comes out at about maybe anywhere between $80 to $120K a year. But in salaries, if you were going to go hire an expert PPC. And you're going to hire an expert email marketer, you're going to hire an export Facebook marketer, or
a designer,
developer, right?
Analyst.
All that stuff is going to cost you a lot of money. So
copywriter.
You always talk about the 5 guys, right? So
we had this one client. They called us the 5 guys. They were like, "This is great. We hire you. We get an SEO guy. We get a PPC guy. We get an analytics. We get a copywriter. We get a designer. All for one cost. It's great. Not to mention." Taxes, employer taxes you don't have to pay, benefits you don't have to pay, you don't have to give them a seat, you don't have to buy them machinery.
And when you want to fire them, you don't have to worry that much.
You write it off of your taxes, you can fire them.
Right. So number 2 would definitely be, just the value that they're bringing.
So I'll chime in with a reason why you might not want to hire an agency. If you're just getting started, if you have no historical data, if you have no kind of proof of concept, it might not make sense to go out and hire an agency right off the bat. It might make more sense to start at least on some small scale so that you can prove the concept and get the executive teams excited about things and have something for the agency to kind of sink their teeth into.
So jumpstart it internally and then basically see how that goes, get that buy-in, and then see if you want to.
Yeah, it's like a quick prototype just to kind of prove that concept so that you can justify bring some expertise in. Another reason why you might not want to hire an agency is if you have the skills. I mean, you don't really see this very often, but if you just happen to have a salesperson or an office manager or somebody who in a previous lifetime was a badass, PPC or an SEO, and they can do it,
became an office
and they have
manager.
the bandwidth and they're already there,
Right.
you might just have them do it. And you might have them just to start doing it to prove that concept before
You went out
things
and
get more
made
complicated.
more of an investment into that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think on the flip side, so like another advantage of an agency, and I saw this specifically when I was on the client side, if we had anything that we wanted to do internally, like a real, like get it off the ground, like top to bottom, like marketing initiative that we weren't going to work with our agency, like it took months just to get it to
Right.
work, because it
Right.
would just be like, oh, we need copywriting, we need to put together a landing page, we need to get we gotta put together the ads. There's like so much that needs to go in, that goes into each campaign. It's like it took us so long, and by the time we launched it, then we were able to see whether it was, effective or not. At
Yeah.
that point, it was already like we could have known this like 2 months ago and done it. So like I would say speed. You work with an agency, you're working with agencies really live and die by deadlines. So like they're like very focused on getting things out the door quick and on time and done well. That gives you the ability to iterate on things if they're going to work or not. In marketing, nothing works on the first try. Everything needs iteration, fine tuning, tweaking, and that's really you're gonna get the biggest value from that when you do it at speed.
Yep.
And agencies provide that speed.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. So on the flip side, you might not want to hire an agency if your industry doesn't lend itself well to digital. I think that pretty much any industry these days can have some digital applications, but I was talking to a prospect not too long ago who sold those big car wash systems that they
the
have
gas
at
stations.
gas stations. They sold those, and so I'm talking to them. I'm looking on, the keyword tool, see if there's any search volume. There's like no significant
What do you
search
even call
volume.
them?
I don't even know, car wash systems or something.
Right.
And if you search for that, you see kind of these at-home DIY products, and it's not like there's a large audience necessarily on LinkedIn or on Facebook that carries a job title like gas station owner or gas station procurement expert or whatever.
Difficult target.
So I ended up basically just I just ended up telling him that and saying, hey man, I really don't know if digital is like the right move. Like we can do a little something for you and maybe it'll work. But I always want to make sure that we can actually make an impact. And there's some industries that just really don't lend themselves
to digital. Yeah, that makes sense. And just to advocate for the agency side now, the other I think the final and main reason I would say is basically innovation and perspective. So when you're working in your industry and you have an internal team, so all they know is what you guys have been doing in the past and what other competitors within that space are doing. Agencies typically will work with a wide variety of clients, and I've actually personally done this with multiple clients where we'll leverage a new innovation, like a push notification or some cool tool that we're working in one industry, and we'll start trying it out on other clients because we see it working. So there's this shared knowledge base of clients that you're working on, that all these new things are working, and you're able to apply that across multiple clients. And you don't really get that when you hire in-house because they're only focused on one thing. Also, there's a level of burnout, to be honest. I remember when I was working on the client side, working in for-profit EDU, there's only so many times you could be staring at the same website and doing it. So there's lack of fresh perspective at what you're doing. So
now the reality of the situation is, unless you're very, very small and just getting started, you're likely going to have a hybrid model of some sort. You were bringing up a good point where, if you're in a very complex industry, an agency is good for perspective and innovation and speed and value, but it's difficult for them to really immerse themselves into the business and understand. So having a point person or maybe just a small internal team that can help to manage and direct the agency and add that touch of expertise, I think really is the way that we're seeing most of our clients do it today.
Yeah, that point of contact who's able to help you get that information, get the pass along stuff that the agency needs to be able to implement their marketing, and also be that point of contact to be on top of the agency to make sure that they're actually performing well.
Cool. So we got to wrap up. If you like this, please hit us with a thumbs up or a comment or something. And if you're in the market for an agency,
you know who to call.
You know who to call. Was that less than 10 minutes?
10 minutes and 10 seconds.
No!
Oh, man.